What's up? What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your good brother, J News, with another edition, special edition of J News Japan. Here today with the one and only, yes, it is him. It is him. It is SP3 joining me for the New Japan Cup special. We are going to cover what has been going on since my last recording, which includes night 4 and into today's New Japan Cup final. As always, folks, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. We're going to get this underway. Last I covered was up until March 7th, which is still first round action. So I'll continue with the rest of the first round matches that continued on to the 9th of March. We had Nagada versus Yoda Tsuji. Yuji Nagata won that match. We had Tomohiro Ishii versus Sanada in what I thought was a more intense match out of Sanada finally versus Ishii there. Sanada won his match against Ishii. We then had David Finley, the Cinderella story of the New Japan Cup. David Finley versus Chase Owens. Young Finley wins his match against the crown jewel, Yoshihashi against Yujiro Takahashi. I had no interest in this match whatsoever. No disrespect to Yoshihashi, but Yoshihashi wins this match here. Toa Hanare, love to see it from a cultural aspect, doing his ceremonial haka before the match in Jay White's face. But obviously, Jay White, the other half of the New Zealand project here, getting the win over Toa Hanare. We then go into second round action, which started on the 11th. Evil got the bye there against Jeff Cobb. Evil wins over Jeff Cobb. The Great Okan had a match against Toru Yano. Toru Yano actually won that match against the Great Okan, which I thought was kind of funky. But hey, we had to keep the comedy going into the quarterfinals. We then had the matches on the 13th, which had Hiroki Goto go up against Shingo Takagi in one of the better matches of the tournament, in my estimation. We'll then have another match here, Minoru Suzuki versus Kenta, which was a complete and utter letdown for me. I will speak for myself. I wanted more. I wanted more violence. I wanted more hits. I didn't get it. I did not get it from that particular regard. So that's what happened on that side. We then go over to the other side of the bracket. We had Will Ospreay go up against Zack Sabre Jr. in the best match up to that point of the New Japan Cup. We then had Yuji Nagata go up against Sanada. Yet again, Sanada going up against one of the New Japan dads, but having a solid match here. We then had David Finley go up against Yujiro Takahashi. Finley takes that particular match there. And we then had the match of Tanahashi versus Jay White, where Jay White wanted Tanahashi to lay down so that he can go forward and get the two belts and solidify or re-engage the legacy that they left behind. No go here. Tanahashi did not take the finger poke of doom, should we say, and Jay White did end up winning that match there. Then we go on to the 16th. We had Evil go up against Toru Yano. Toru Yano takes the loss here because obviously what sense does it make to have Toru Yano go on from this point? We then had Shingo Takagi go up against Kenta in a better match for Kenta this time around, even though I felt like Kenta during the New Japan Cup brought more fire during the tag matches than he did during the singles matches. That was just, I don't know what the hell is going on there, but that is what that is there. We then had Will Ospreay go up against Sanada in a match where I feel, and I know this goes against our consensus for the last couple of months, but I feel if Sanada and Ospreay had more time, it could have probably been a more not a better match, but I guess like it would have been one of those matches that you can sink your teeth into more or whatnot. I think for me it was a little bit like there was a little bit left to be desired. It wasn't too short and it wasn't too long, but I felt like there's more there to come, maybe in the future, but who knows. But Will Ospreay wins that match against Sanada. Obviously, I was saddened, but not necessarily completely, because we know Will Ospreay has to take off with the rocket pack on his back. We then also had the match versus Jay White and David Finley, the biggest bracket buster there was since Shingo against Okada. David Finley beats Jay White to go into the semis. Man, that was not expected, but it was a hell of a match. I'll say that. We then had the semis, which had David Finley, the final four, David Finley against Will Ospreay, and then we had Evil. Where am I? Yeah, Evil versus Shingo. Yeah, Evil versus Shingo. So in this estimation, when I saw it was Evil versus Shingo, there was no doubt in my mind Shingo Takagi was going to go to the finals. They knew the evil experiment had failed. There's just no going back to that experiment. So Shingo Takagi took the win over Evil in very credible and solid fashion. Good match, solid match. And then we had David Finley versus Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay was putting on a show throughout the entire New Japan Cup. David Finley was showing out as well, because this match was not short of anything but probably the best match I've seen David Finley ever do one-on-one. And Will Ospreay's bringing out the best in everybody he gets in the ring with. So that is cool to see. So we had Takagi win up against Evil, and then Will Ospreay wins his match against the one and only David Finley. So now the finals have us here today, March 21st, 2021. Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi in the finals of the New Japan Cup, live from the Zebio Arena in Sendai. Ladies and gentlemen, I like the look of this arena. This arena is semi-new. In Japan, it's about 4 or 5 years old. There's no crowd count on the website as of right now, but it did seem like it was a good sized crowd. So we'll go over that. Not to take any more time away, SP3, so you can get some involvement in here, because honestly, as transparent as I always am with the fans, I only watched the main event. I did not watch the tag matches. I only watched the main event. I wasn't interested in anything else. But because everything was spoiled for me on social media ahead of time, and not because of New Japan, but because something went down at the end of the show, and a lovely young lady got her ass KO'd. And she was the first thing that came up on my timeline when I signed into Instagram. I had to go and look at some highlights and stuff like that. So I wanted to mention this before we started with the show. During the show today, we had the return of one half of Roppongi 3K. Yo came out and he cut a promo basically challenging for those IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. So on April 4th at Sakura Genesis, it will be showing the return of Roppongi 3K. They will be going up against our buddies from Suzuki-gun, El Desperado, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. So that was cool to see Show back, probably for the first time in a year's time and whatnot, recovering from that torn ACL surgery. So I wanted to bring that up and make sure folks knew about that. So match number one, as per the usual, SP3. I want you to take this away. I'll break down the match. You give people some of the highlights here. First match, 6-man tag. We had the Young Lions, Gabriel Kidd, Yua Uemura, and Yoda Tsuji, go up against Suzuki-gun members Doki, Zack Sabre Jr., and Tai Chi. This match lasted about 10 minutes and 39 seconds. Anything you can recall from this match that stood out to you at all, SP3?
The continued improvement of this Young Lion class, most especially Tsuji. Tsuji, I think, has been really, especially on this tour, really been standing out among the pack. I've always viewed Uemura as the head of the class, but Tsuji has been tightening the gap between him and Uemura, especially over this tour. But most of all, Gabriel Kidd, man, I've heard all great things about Zack Sabre, the Zack Sabre Jr. first round match.
That match is dope, man.
I heard you praise it. Uncle Dave Meltzer, he praised it as well. Me, myself, I'm going to be transparent as well. Up until this show I saw in full. I had only seen Shingo versus Okada, Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. from this tournament, and Shingo versus Kenta, and the matches from the anniversary show, of course. But so this was like my first time seeing him for like the whole tour, and you can tell he's very much confident in himself right now. You know, coming off of that great match that he had with Zack Sabre Jr. Anytime he was in the ring with him, he just got more energy involved in his performance, a little bit more pep in his step, and his exchanges with Zack Sabre Jr. were the highlight of this matchup. This was your usual Young Lion match, which is always really good, but this was among probably the better of the multi-man matches on this night. No surprise, Suzuki Gun getting the win here. They seem to be getting themselves primed and ready, Dangerous Techers, to get another crack at the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, which is something I want to see, but I'm very much looking forward to what is the next step in the evolution of the Young Lions.
Yeah, man, same here, bro, because I feel like, well, Kevin Kelly kept on mentioning it specifically throughout the entire New Japan Cup, how all three of these guys are near graduation at this point. So that means excursions coming for them soon. As to where they're going to go, who knows? But at the end of the day, we do know Gabriel Kidd has experience on the UK indie scene for the last, 6 to 7 years or whatever cases before he even got to the New Japan Dojo. So to me, it'd be more beneficial to him to go elsewhere outside of the UK and Japan, to get some sort of a seasoning in that sense. And Uemura and Tsuji, sky's the limit. I'm not necessarily sure what's going to happen with the new class of Young Lions, since the one guy, I'm forgetting his name now, who got injured in his first match against Uemura, he's out for a certain amount of time, and I'm not sure who out of the Japan dojo is gonna be making waves. But we'll see as to what happens with the Young Lions going forward. Second match of the night, New Japan dads Tomoaki Honma and Satoshi Kojima go up against those United Empire boys, the Great Okan and Jeff Cobbs. 8 minutes, 58 seconds. The United Empire has now become the strong stable in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They are standing out. SP3, your thoughts on this match, being that you watched the entire show?
I'm doing my best Great Okan impersonation. Like, he literally comes out the curtain, he's walking on normal, and then he just goes. It's like, it's the most ridiculous shit I've seen in New Japan. I like the United Empire. I mean, for as much as I make fun of Great Okan, I don't think he's the best guy they've ever came back from Excursion. I like his role in the United Empire.
It works.
He is the guy they are kind of trying to make something out of from this group. They know that they have a once-in-a-lifetime type of performer in Will Ospreay. They know they have a complete and utter beast in Jeff Cobb, and they are trying to take some of their skill and the heat and the connection they have with the crowd and kind of spread that off into Great Okan. So I enjoyed that part of it. This was a dominant win for the United Empire. Jeff Cobb got the victory with Tora Vilings on Honma. Kojima, he's been looking good ever since his big no DQ match with Will Ospreay. So I love seeing Kojima out there. Honma is Honma. Mm-hmm. Now that we have the cuter, better version of Honma in Maki Ito on AEW. Honma, just seeing Honma do the Kodeshi, it's like, man, Maki does it better, so stop doing it. That's how I feel.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Man, AEW, such a unique show to watch on Dynamite on Wednesday nights, to say the least. Third match of the night here, 6-man tag team action. We had the Bullet Club members, Yujiro Takahashi, the lone Tokyo Pimp, Kenta, and Evil, as always, being flagged by the one and only Dick Togo, up against members of Chaos, Sho, Yoshihashi, and Toru Yano. This match went 9 minutes and 24 seconds, and I see here that Yujiro Takahashi actually got the win over Yoshihashi with the Pimp Juice. SP3, anything stand out from this match to you?
I thought it was very cool that we had the Japanese members of the Bullet Club teaming up together in this matchup with the Tokyo Pimp, Kenta, and Evil. So I did enjoy that, and I did enjoy the win setting up something, because I think that you guys might have noticed, usually when we do these New Japan reviews or we do like a pay-per-view roundtable, we give star ratings. As you see, the first two matches, I didn't give a star rating because I didn't think it was worth a star rating or thinking about it that much because nothing really happened. I mean, I would have gave the opener 3 stars. I would have gave the second match probably 2.5. This match was probably on the same level as the second matchup, but there wasn't really anything going on these multi-man matchups outside of this match and the semi-main event. So I did like the setup for the 6-man never open weight tag team titles. Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi mixing it up with the Japanese members of the Bullet Club may be fun. We may get a little bit of a hoss fight with Ishii and Evil. May get a little bit of banging and clanging with Kenta and Goto. Yoshihashi and Yujiro will also be there. But yeah, I think that it will be fun. That will be a fun little matchup. Maybe add that to Sakura Genesis, or they have a whole bunch of big shows between April and May, so they can add it in one of those. And this was there pretty much.
Gotcha. Fourth match of the night, we had another 6-man tag. We had the downtrodden Toa Hanare, along with David Finley and Juice Robinson, the current Impact World Tag Team Champions, up against members of Los Ingobernables de Japón, Bushi, Sarada, and Tetsuya Naito. This match went 10 minutes and 10 seconds, and Sanada gets the win here with the delightful, as always, to watch O'Connor Bridge over Toa Hanare. SP3, your thoughts on this match? Did anything catch your eye during this 6-man tag?
I do like that they are noting that Naito really doesn't have anything going on right now. He doesn't have a feud. He's not in the title mix. So I did like them mentioning that. Something similar you could say for like Sonata right now coming out of the New Japan Cup as well. But the story was more about the baby faces because, you could see Finjuice just has a lot more confidence right now being the Impact Tag Team Champions. I think that was a great move on Impact and New Japan's part because it gave them a little bit of something after their great performances in the World Tag League. I think they deserved it. And they are starting to look more and more like a real actual tag team. And what everybody has been saying from the New Japan Cup is the guy that kind of raised his stock the most was David Finley. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to see him here. He was definitely continuing to sell the ankle from the great match with Ospreay the night prior. So that was a great touch of this. But the story of the matchup was probably the guy you would say was the least like that had gotten like the least like storyline investment going in, and that was Hanare. The whole match was really about Hanare being downtrodden. He's not a young lion anymore. He's in that middle ground where he's a little bit confused. He doesn't know what road he's going to take. He's not a part of a stable. He's kind of like in purgatory right now. So, the loss to Jay White got to him. This loss here, he went bananas outside the ring and in the post-match kind of being very hard on himself. So I like the story that's going on with the Hanare. I think that's been the one thing that has denied him is that, a lot of the other young lions, either when they're young lions or immediately after they've graduated or come back from excursion being a young lion, they've had some type of story, some type of character trait to kind of go along with them. Hanare has kind of been stuck in this middle ground for a long, long time. So this seems like it's the start of an actual story and an actual character for him. So that makes you more engaged and more interested in what's going to happen next for him. So I like that they made him the focus of this matchup because now I actually want to see Hanare again. And this is the first time I could say that coming out of a New Japan event.
All right. That's cool. That's an interesting bit there. I agree with you that Hanare is basically in a flux right now, so he doesn't necessarily know where he's going. But all the emotion that's spilling out after these matches and things of that nature just leads to a bigger story arc for him and stuff like that, and some character development. Going on to the semi-main, we got a tag team here that was together in the previous night's semi-main as well. Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the Ace, and Kota Ibushi up against members of the Bullet Club, Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, and Jay White. Kota Ibushi wins this match, hitting the Kamigoye on Chase Owens yet again, if I'm not mistaken, for the second night in a row. What I have to talk about here, I didn't watch this match, but I'm just speaking on me watching what happened on the 20th, is the utter disrespect Okada has for Kota Ibushi. This man wears it on his face. He wears it in his body language and everything in between. Hiroshi Tanahashi is more the upstanding professional, taking the photos, doing the photo ops with Ibushi. Okada's having none of that. It's just straight disrespect for Ibushi. And he's not digging the idea of the unification of the belts either. So that's a storyline within itself. Your thoughts, SP3? Your thoughts?
Kota Ibushi has turned himself into a pariah. He is the leopard of the New Japan roster right now. And most of all, this is coming from Okada and Tanahashi, the two faces of this promotion for over the past decade. They are the ones that are showing their disgust of Kota Ibushi's decision the most, which is a great touch and sets up two big-time matches that everybody is going to want to see. So I'm all for it. So I like the whole dynamic going on between Ibushi, Tanahashi, and Okada. On the other side, the Bullet Club, Jay White, I like his whole mission statement now coming out of the New Japan Cup. You know, I didn't think, I know a lot of people were saying he was the favorite going into the New Japan Cup, but it felt like too soon to put him back into the world title scene. So I didn't think he was going to win. I thought that the guy that's in the finals was the favorites to win it. So I'm glad he didn't make it that far, and it elevated, David Finley in the process. But Jay White going after the Never Openweight Championship once again is another move that elevates the Never Openweight Championship. Like, I know people are down on the fact that the Intercontinental title is gone and its lineage is gone, and most especially the Heavyweight Championship. But like I've said before, like we talked about during the anniversary show review, this is a good thing for the Never Openweight Championship, which has been steadily getting steam for over the past year.
Yeah.
Tanahashi being champion and still remaining champion, even after going up against Great-O-Khan, was a good move to keep it at the status that it is right now. And I think that Jay White defeating Tanahashi for the Never Openweight Championship continues that elevation of this title, because Jay White is unquestionably the top heel in New Japan. So him having that title and going after Ibushi as the Never Openweight champion would be something interesting and something new that we haven't seen before. So I'm all for it.
All right, man. No, I definitely agree there, man. Jay White throughout the New Japan Cup tournament, just turning it up even more. With his heelish antics and his promo work and the backstage interview stuff and whatnot. Jay White's just on. He's the one who should be saying that he's on another level right now. Not trying to take anything away from Will Ospreay, but Jay White is definitely working on another freaking level right now, and it's been very enjoyable to watch. Now, folks, patrons, all members of the True Heel Nation, we have gotten to the part and point where we're going to be talking about the finals of the New Japan Cup. It is Shingo Takagi, the Rampage Dragon, versus the one and only Commonwealth Kingpin himself, Will Ospreay, the Billy Goat. This match went half an hour, 30 minutes, 6 seconds. I watched this match from beginning to end. Before we get into the match, I want to say something. For all of the time that I've been watching professional wrestling, there has been many, many different angles when it comes to men and women in professional wrestling. The valets, the relationships, whatever have you, right? What I saw today, after the end of this match, after Will Ospreay's coronation, spoiler, Will Ospreay wins this match. I couldn't believe what I saw. That was something that was completely left field and unexpected for me. I am a fan of B. Priestley. I have been for years. I know how well their relationship works outside of the ring. They're very much in love. They do their thing, and whatever the case is. That was so like to be able to take his character to another level. I thought to myself from a creative standpoint, what's Will gonna do? That's what he needed to do. And at the end of the day, it's not probably the most, I don't know, it's not the most PC thing to do in 2021, right? For a man to put his hands on a woman or whatever the case is. But from a character standpoint, this is still professional wrestling, right? And she's a professional wrestler, so she took a bump at the end of the day. But he just it was, you know what it reminded me of, man, and you're gonna know about this. It reminded me of a scene in New Jack City when Nino Brown took the gat out, right? And he had his woman right next to him, and he basically backhanded the chick because he's the king. He was the one who needed to be on top and everything else in between. That's what it reminded me of, in a sense, right? And just that portrayal of him just, taking the woman out of the way, his concentration on the new IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He loves the chase of this championship more than anything else or anyone else in the world. Just a very blinders, biased view on his destiny in professional wrestling. I thought it was interesting. I didn't like it at first, but then when because I was like, but why? Like, the relationship works on screen. I was like, but why? And then it's like, from a character arc standpoint, it's like, well, from a villainous standpoint, I guess it makes sense or whatever. I think that could have they gone a different way to elevate his master plan or villainy? Sure, I guess, but like, it made more of a statement is really where I'm trying to go. What is your thoughts on that before we get into the match, SP3? What are your thoughts on that moment?
I think that we are taking some shine or praise away from the match by addressing this post-match first. First of all, I do want to say that. Mm-hmm. Second of all, the angle, I'll just be honest, it just felt unnecessary. Right. It felt like a needlessly flat finish to the show. Like, the crowd was buzzing, and the crowd wanted to hear what was going to happen between Ospreay and Ibushi, and nothing about this makes me hate Ospreay more. Nothing about this makes me want to see Ibushi beat him up more. Nothing about this makes me fear he's going to win the title. Like, it just seems very unnecessary. This was a way to write off B. Priestley. Sure. I think that balancing being in Ospreay's corner on big New Japan events and being a full-time Stardom, competitor probably was conflicting, and that was the reason why they made this decision. But yeah, I just don't see the benefit. I just don't see how this makes him a bigger villain, how this makes him a bigger main event, a bigger top star. And it really, honestly, the biggest effect that it had is that it took shine and took talk away from what was a match of the year candidate. And that's the main thing why I'm most upset. This was an instance where New Japan did something where it was very WWE-like. And we've been saying that quite often over the last couple of months, where this is not a move or an angle that is going to make a lot of people or the majority of the fans angry at Will Ospreay. It's a move that's going to make a majority of the fans angry at New Japan. And I just don't see the benefit in this.
I hear you. I sit here and I understand everything you're saying, and I'm in agreement with you, just because I understand the character arc part of it, because you watch it in movies, you watch it in TV, yada yada yada, from a creative standpoint, right? But it's like, but what was the sense in it? You know what I'm saying? And it was like, They could have gone. That's like I said before. They could have gone about this in another way.
And it's the fact that she makes the act. Especially I took time to kind of think about the angle, and I was just like, man, what was the one thing that I was talking about the most coming out of, Wrestle Kingdom as far as Will Ospreay. Yes, he had the great, fantastic match of the year, 5-star match with Kazuka Okada, but it was the entrance, him coming down to the ring, him matching with B. Priestley, them looking like a modern day Shawn Michaels and Sensational Sherry that stood out the most to me. Like, what's the difference between Will Ospreay as a main event top star and Jay White now? Like, Jay White has Gato, and Will had B. Priestley. I'm not for this. I'm down on this right now.
I feel you. But let's talk about the epic that was this half an hour match. I for one have been trying to understand why most of the main event heavyweight matches always build on the same crescendo, right? They start out slow, the feel out process, the build until they hit the climax, and everybody's gripped in. Will Ospreay said, fuck this, we're gonna start this like a junior match. And it started off at 100 miles an hour, and it dipped a bit, but it was in that the dip was so necessary just to have the control over the viciousness of what was going on within Will Ospreay's character. Shingo Takagi just like he was eating everything. That moment where he went, quote unquote, I think Gino said it, zombie like, right? During the match and stuff like that. I was like, yo, obviously strong style is strong style, but like seeing that moment and him just continuously walking forward while Will Ospreay was kicking him in the face, and then he threw the elbow and he was still coming forward. I was like, man, this whole crowd is bought in at this point. And they were. The crowd was into it. You heard some gasps in the crowd from time to time and whatnot. So I was like, man, they're definitely selling this well. Shingo Takagi completely selling the back injury from the tournament and stuff like that. The table spot, I didn't know what Will Ospreay was going to do. I'm sure I've seen a 450 splash into a table sometime in my entire 30 plus years of watching professional wrestling, but like this stood out for whatever reason. It definitely stood out. And that spot where Shingo was laid out. He was on the ground. I didn't think he was going to get up. I thought Will was going to win via countout. And then Shingo grabbed Ibushi's towel. He wiped the sweat off of his brow. Ibushi kept on motivating him. Shingo rushes back into the ring to beat the 20 count, and they kept going. And I was like, man, there's so much nuance in this match that some people are just going to freaking miss it. And like you said before, SP3, definitely a match of the year candidate here. Yet again, to the point I made earlier, whoever is in the ring with either Shingo Takagi and or Will Ospreay has been made to look, feel, and been presented better since this year has begun. And it's been incredible to watch. And I can't wait to see Will Ospreay versus Ibushi, to be quite honest, because that match should be next level, to quote Will Ospreay. But yeah, man, I can't say anything bad about this match. This match to me was 4 3/4 stars as a rating. To give it a rating, Shingo Takagi, man, what can you say about the Rampage Dragon that we haven't already said, man? One of the best, if not the best worker in all of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Every match is intense. Every match can be lengthy, and he can make something out of that length. Or the match can be cropped short, and he can make something out of that short match. It's like whatever situation you put Shingo in, he's going to make it work. And Will Ospreay is just proving the point that no disrespect to the cleaner, but at the end of the day, he's proving the point that he's gonna be the number one gaijin, and he's gonna take that shit and he's gonna run with it. That's my estimation on Will Ospreay, heel or face or whatever have you. Will Ospreay wins this match after, I believe it was a counter into the Stormbreaker. Shingo Takagi, I believe.
Well, he hit the hidden blade, and then he
Yeah.
hit the
Then he hit
Stormbreaker for the
right.
win.
Exactly. So, but so many of the offensive sequences between Takagi and Will Ospreay were just like, not that they were unreal, but they were so, they're crisp, man. They're like, there's nothing bad you can say.
Seamless is the best word
Exactly.
to describe Shingo and Ospreay in the ring. This was a 5-star classic. Don't give me no 4 3/4 bullshit.
The only reason
this was 5 stars. This was 5
The
stars.
only reason I gave this 4 3/4 stars. Only reason I gave this 4 3/4 stars was because I felt, right, when Shingo had his matches last year in Shingu versus Naito, am I bugging out?
What, in the G1?
The G1?
I don't think he versed. No, he was on the A block side.
No. In Shingu Stadium, where they had that in the shows in August and whatnot.
Shingo? You said Shingo and Naito?
Shingo had a match. I forget who it was against, but he was never openweight champ at the time. Suzuki. So he had those matches against Suzuki, and it was because of, I guess it was just the level of violence the Murder Grandpa brings to stuff, and how stiff the strong style is. And I remember giving the match, that particular match, 5 stars, and I remember giving the match versus Shingo and Jeff Cobb 5 stars as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I wasn't excited to watch this match, but the fervor for me, I guess it wasn't the same, which is why I gave it 4 3/4 stars, right? And I love these guys both, but I was like, man, this wasn't on that level of Shingo and Jeff Cobb.
Yes, it was. It was.
Not by much. That's why I gave it 4 3/4.
In my eyes, this is probably better than Shingo.
Really?
Because they both men had their separate motivations going into this. Like Will Ospreay, he simply wanted to win the New Japan Cup, win the trophy, get something, a big win for the United Empire. While Shingo Takagi, he expressed through, facial expressions, body language, and the nuances, the little details, that he wanted the match against Ibushi. It wasn't really about the New Japan Cup. It was more about getting the match against Ibushi because he respects him so much. But this match just had so many spectacular sequences. You talked about the 450 splash from the top rope to the outside of the ring through the table. The spot of the match to me, though, is Ospreay absorbing the pumping bomber, flipping on his feet, and going seamlessly. It was literally seamless into the Oz Cutter. I was blown away. I was just amazed. And they turned stuff on its head. Like, you think at the end, towards the end of the match, Ospreay's about to hit our Poison Rana on Shingo. And Shingo reverses it and hits the Poison Rana on Ospreay. And it's just like, what the hell is going on? They're turning the head, and the storytelling in this matchup. Both men coming in with the injury. Ospreay with the bum, the torn rotator cuff. Shingo with the bad back. The backdrop onto the guardrail. It was just brutal stuff. Great action. Shingo's got one of the best movesets in professional wrestling today. He has 6 or 7 moves that legitimately should finish his opponents. It's just great. And then Will Ospreay, his way that he has kind of transitioned from the junior heavyweight division to the heavyweight division, packing on the pounds, changing the way that he wrestles. But this match was closer to the junior heavyweight Will Ospreay. But this was just a stunning, amazing effort from both men. They had the crowd behind them. They had the crowd engaged in this match. This had storytelling. This had the facial expressions, the body language, the epic length. This is a 5-star classic, and it's elite. And I know Uncle Dave's gonna do it, so that's gonna be the 7th match that he's rated 5 stars from New Japan, and we're not even in April of this year yet. And in my eyes, it is probably the 4th or 5th 5-star match New Japan has had this year. And it's the 2nd 5-star match Will Ospreay has had this fucking week. It's this guy like literally like yes, Kenny Omega is one of the biggest stars in the industry. He's the AEW World Champion. He's had 5-star classes against Ray Phoenix, a great exploding barbed wire death match with John Moxley. He's gonna have another great match against Rich Swann at Rebellion. But Will Ospreay is exactly what he says he is on another level. The Will Ospreay of 2019, where he was unquestionably the best wrestler in the world, is back. And I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, man. Agreed. I can't disagree there. At the end of the day, it's Sakura Genesis. April 4th, 2021, Will Ospreay is going to go one-on-one with Kota Ibushi, with God himself. Post-match commentary after the win in the back, where he said to Ibushi that he's not a believer. He's not the devil, and he's not he said he wasn't the devil, and that he wasn't a follower, but that he was gonna take it upon himself basically to dismantle everything that Ibushi has built, and that he's gonna be the number one guy in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Is that going to happen necessarily? I don't necessarily know. With all that's behind Will Ospreay right now, right? How on fire he is. How will a loss to Kota Ibushi affect Will Ospreay, right? I'm not too sure how that will go down and what the character arc will be from there. If it'll be one of self-destruction, if it'll be one where he comes back even stronger, who knows necessarily. But, the reverse can happen. Will Ospreay can beat Kota Ibushi, and then everybody's dream match for Wrestle Kingdom 16 goes to shit. You know what I'm saying? So
it happens.
It could happen at the end of the day. But that's what we're looking forward to at Sakura Genesis. Will Ospreay versus Kota Ibushi. We're probably going to get a special singles match somewhere in between there with Kazuchika Okada and the great Tetsuya Naito. More than likely, I would think.
I don't think so.
Because they're not doing anything.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Okada's going to be doing any singles matches for the next couple of while because he has the injured back. And I think that's the reason why he went out of the New Japan Cup so early. Gotcha.
Man, that puts Naito in a bind then. But they were kind of trying to not trying to, but they were mentioning the fact that Sonata and Naito were going to try to be a tag team now during the show, which I'm not a big proponent of that idea, but it is what it is at this point, because they don't really have these natural tag teams anymore in New Japan, so that they need some sort of opponents for the GOD. But, ladies and gentlemen, as you can already tell, we are done with the New Japan Cup final for 2021. That was the brunt of it. We hope that you enjoyed watching the show as you always do. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe right here to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. Folks, I've been your good brother, J News, as always. Thank you for watching J News Japan as you do. The one and only SP3 across from me in the virtual world, as he's here with me for these special shows. Next time you'll see us both together is probably for Sakura Genesis. I will try to catch everybody.
We'll have a round table for that.
We'll have a round table for that.
We're only doing the J News specials for the tournaments and the smaller, but the bigger shows, we'll have a round table, so there'll be more folks talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling just for you.
There you go. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll catch up with y'all during the week when it comes to what's going on with New Japan Strong, because we've had some developments there going on. But, folks, thank you for watching. Be good to one another. Take care of yourselves. And stay wrestling fans, y'all. We about this one.
Peace.